Yo, what's up guys? You're back with your man TechNick, your go-to guy for videos on the latest tech. Now today, we have more of the latest tech from my trio from this past week. Started with the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3, went on to the OnePlus 6T, and now we have the Honor Magic 2. Now this is an 8GB, 128GB variant, which is right in the middle of the lineup for the Magic 2, which starts off with 6GB, 128GB, which costs roughly the same price as the OnePlus 6T and Mi Mix 3 8GB 128GB variant, so keep that in mind. The same price, you're going to get 2GB less RAM, but that shouldn't really matter because of what is in this guy. This has a Kirin 980 chipset in it. That is the same chipset as what is inside the Huawei Mate 20, Mate 20X and Mate 20 Pro. The best cell phone 7nm chipset in the world for Android right now is in a budget smartphone, and only what? A couple weeks after the Mate 20 release date, which costs twice the price as this phone, and this has so much going for it. This phone is on a slider, 8GB of RAM, huge storage. You can put an actual SD card in this guy. You don't have to get that silly little card thing for the Mate 20 and Mate 20 Pro. This is the silver gradient version. There's also a pink gradient version and a blue gradient version. So guys, this is the Honor Magic 2, and without further ado, let's go. Go ahead and open this guy right up here. So looking at the box, it's all blue. You can see the whole slider effect going on here, which is cool. Yeah, there's really not much to look at when it comes to the actual box. It's really nice and subtle, but that's because of the magic inside. First thing we're presented with is the Honor Magic 2 over here. To the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3 cover that I had for you guys. Actually, almost identical, even feels similar. That's mad. Obviously you can see that huge cutout there for the triple lens setup on this phone. 40-watt charging block. Now this is the same charging block that you see with the Huawei Mate 20 and Mate 20 Pro. This is supposed to charge your phone up to 70% in just 30 minutes. That is mad fast. Now, USB Type-C cable. Now just one thing to mention with the phone, the Type-C jack is actually USB 3.1, and so many more budget phones actually just have USB 2. There's a little bit of purple inside of the Type-C ports, as well as the USB-A port on the other side. There you can actually see it a lot more, the purple over there. So it's a little finishes like that start to win your heart over, especially in these budget phones that so many bigger companies don't do. They pretty much just give you the phone, basic cable they've been using for so many years, and that's about it. Type-C to 3.5mm jack, since there's no headphone jack in this phone. Honor have done away with it, so many companies have done away with it. Move on with your lives guys, get yourself a pair of wireless headphones. Focusing on the phone here, the first thing that you notice is that there is a fingerprint scanner here, and there is a sliding animation going on over there. Now at the back they show you that you can use 2 SIMs, which is great as well. So if you do decide to throw in an SD card, you won't be able to use the second SIM. It's one sexy gradient finish, and that is why I opted for this. It's almost like a blackish blue throwing into silver look. It's a bit subtle, but it's still really classy. Now if I start putting some fingerprints all over that, I mean, it could be a lot worse. First of all, no cutout for the fingerprint sensor. So where's that? Do they have one? Yes, indeed they do, and that is under the screen. But before we go to that, we have our 3 cameras here, our triple lens setup. We have a 16 megapixel main shooter RGB lens. We have a 24 megapixel monochrome lens, which is still kind of pointless in my books. It would have been nice to have that, a telephoto like Huawei are doing now with their phones. And then we have a 16 megapixel wide camera lens, ultra wide, which is great for those extra snaps that you can get from a distance without having to move back. So looking at the side of the phone, we have the power button over here. We have the volume rocker along here, tiny antenna line there, little antenna line here, looks what to be an IR blaster over there, another antenna line. We have the dual SIM and micro SD card slots over there. At the bottom of the phone we have a single firing speaker, and we have the USB Type-C port. Now on the front of the phone we are treated to a 6.39 inch AMOLED display. Now this is Full HD plus resolution, so this is just 1080p. If you guys have a look here, the chin is really minimal. Now this has a 95% screen to body ratio, which is pretty much the best in the business. The slider, similar to the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3, and here we go. There it is. So on the front here, we actually have the speaker grill. Now that is quite a hefty speaker grill, which makes me think that this is for stereo sound, which is great. That's non-existent on the Mix 3. We also have a triple lens camera setup here. So we have a main 16 megapixel shooter with two megapixel depth sensors, and we also have an infrared 3D mapper over here, which is not quite as good as 3D facial recognition, but it is a step above the standard facial recognition that you get with most of these phones that just utilize the camera. Turning it over, you have a curved back over here. I'm sorry Xiaomi, this feels a lot more solid than the Mix 3. The design just feels like there was more thought put into it. And the slider, it's not as loud. Just look at the flow of the Magic 2 and how they bend down there. It just looks more natural compared to the Xiaomi's, which is actually, it's just flat and stale. It just looks like a cheaper phone even though it costs the same. Just looking at these two phones, I mean, hit me up in the comments below, but I'm favoring over the Magic here. Let's turn this on to show you guys that wonderful AMOLED display. So now I wanted to talk about the colors real quick while this boots up. And the biggest thing is that if you do get the blue version, the blue variant of this phone, the blue comes along on the front as well as the pink. So it kind of takes away from that whole immersive feel that you get with the phone. MUI 9.0, and that is running based on Android 9 Pie. And now let's enroll the fingerprint. This process looks identical to the Mate 20 Pro, and that is because this is the exact same fingerprint scanner. So that's done. Now face unlock. Slide down the screen to start. Test out this fingerprint sensor. There it is. So just a little click. That's super quick. Let's try it again. Real quick. And let's test the fingerprint sensor at the back here, which is a physical one, which is seriously fast. So we're going to use these two together. 1, 2, 3. Slightly faster on the Xiaomi. That is the Honor Magic 2, and it gets a thumbs up for me on this design alone. This is beautiful. Now the biggest thing for me is that this wonderful phone is almost right in the middle of the OnePlus 6T and the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3. Now, it has the under display fingerprint sensor to the likes of the OnePlus 6T, and it has the slider mechanism to that of the likes of the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3. It ditches any lower end chipset that you would think comes along with this phone and throws in a Kirin 980, the world's fastest 7nm chipset in an Android phone. You have 40 watts fast charging, which is madness. This is the Honor Magic 2, and this is one beautiful looking phone. Now with that gradient shimmer and the slider, this is probably one of the most attractive phones that are out there. This phone is breathtaking, and I am super excited to bring you guys a full review on this device. Now, my full review on this phone will be out within the next week or two, so please stay tuned, guys. Hit that subscribe button down below, and until next time, guys, this is TechNick.